Here's a strange thing that I came across. Really wish I hadn't. Don't really want to cover it, but alas, here we go. The controversy embroiled luxury fashion house Balenciaga has some very interesting ties to Disney. I bet you they wish that they weren't tied to them at all, but they're tied to them not only in apparel, but in media as well. On Disney Plus. Surprise. Here we go. The Balenciaga saga continues, and it's going to continue for quite a while. Companies associated with this fashion house are going to be put in awkward situations, to say the least. It's a real mess, and they've actually put themselves in harm's way and under a lot of scrutiny without actually doing anything, quite possibly. And since popping up on the radar around Thanksgiving, we've learned that this company is no stranger to some very dark imagery, to say the least. And that's the nice way to say it. I don't know a better way. And as I've said, and I will keep saying, this is quite a deep rabbit hole. It's filled with tangential passages that go places that you really wouldn't expect, obviously, like Disney. Now, we have to be careful here, and I will be throughout this entire video. We don't want to take anything out of context. Context is going to be key when we're dealing with difficult issues like this. So it's important to understand that in this case, the Simpsons are not to blame. And the owner of the Simpsons, Disney, again, should be afforded that same luxury. Back in October of 2021, the Simpsons made their runway debut in Fashion Week in Paris. I bet you didn't know that. Not a lot of people are high fashion people that watch my channel, so you probably don't even know when Fashion Week is, nor do you care. There was a 10-minute film that was produced, and it was, of course, in promotion of the luxury brand Balenciaga. According to the New York Times, the film itself took about a year to produce, and it featured not only the iconic characters of the Simpsons program, it also included representations of folks in the fashion industry as well. Well-known people in the fashion industry, indeed. And if you would like to judge it for yourself, which you're certainly welcome to, it's not disturbing, it's still up on YouTube for free. You can find it freely available. In fact, I may even leave a link to it here in the video down below. But you can just, look for Balenciaga Simpsons. It'll come up. Of course, along with this introduction video from The Simpsons, there came a fashion line, an apparel line from Balenciaga with, of course, all the Simpsons flair. It also, if you wanted to buy some of this gear, it was going to rock you at least $260 in the initial price tag. That's the bottom end. Top end's a little higher. It's like $4,600. But again, all this stuff, high fashion stuff, goes from, expensive to soaring. Of course, all of this must be done with Disney's permission. Whenever you do something like this, you have to get their permissions. You have to get a license, right? And you're kind of in a partnership. You're in a partnership as far as that goes when you're doing branded stuff with them, in particular with Mickey Mouse, but we'll get to that in a minute. Because this isn't the first time that Balenciaga has actually done stuff with Disney, which again, I didn't know. Balenciaga has actually collaborated with Disney in plenty of times. They recently ran a Marvel capsule that was featuring the Incredible Hulk, the Hulk. So you can buy like a sweatshirt and some t-shirts and like a weird dress thing if you're, into that. There's a t-shirt that's actually part of their permanent collection. In fact, it's not, a limited edition thing. Balenciaga and their sister brand, Gucci, actually, are both underneath this umbrella company, this Bearing company. If you haven't seen my other video on Balenciaga at this point, Bearing owns a lot of luxury brands, 19 in all. Gucci is one of them. So there you are. But anyway, so under the Gucci brand, you can actually get Mickey Mouse tennis shoes. Those are out there. There's I think a couple different iterations of them, in fact. And to be fair, which like I said, I always try to do when we talk about difficult stuff like this, and sometimes maybe to a fault. Maybe I give people too much of the benefit of the doubt. But Disney licenses are ever growing. There's a constant list of more partnerships that they have with a lot of brands. I'm sure they were thinking, hey, luxury fashion brand, yay. They leverage their brands very, very effectively. It's incredibly profitable for them, even if it's a money loser for somebody like, let's say, Hasbro. I mean, who can forget the story of the drowning in Rose Tico toys, right? Because Hasbro was just buried with them, amongst other failed characters from the Star Wars thing. But we'll set that aside. It's not why we're here. So, of course, some people may forgive Disney for not being up to speed on some of the weird stuff that goes on with various partners. Because let me tell you, I'm sure Balenciaga and their associated brands are one of many that are just maybe a little off the wall, maybe potentially unsafe. Maybe there wasn't enough due diligence. You are dealing with those companies from afar. To be clear, I mean, you're looking at the fashion world. I mean, those folks, there's a lot of folks in the fashion world that are pretty bonkers. I mean, the world's kind of bonkers if you look at some of the fashions out there. But this time, maybe I'm not going to give them as much leeway. Maybe it's a little different. I don't know. I'm going to think about it. But Disney has had now a much more up close and personal working relationship with Balenciaga. And that this actually is going to get unearthed, not just by me, but by many others. And I'm sure there's more to it than even what we know. To what extent, obviously, are people going to be surprised? I don't know. You're going to ask me, how are people going to find out about this? Well, I'm going to tell you, first of all, but other people are going to find out because somebody else is going to talk about it. And it'll be out there in the world soon enough, because the relationship I'm talking about is in media. About a month after the Simpsons Fashion Week film premiered, Disney Plus started in on a Spanish original series, Balenciaga. I mentioned that at the very beginning of the video. And as of November 12th, 2021, Disney had made that announcement public. It was going to be its first Spanish-based original, based on the designer of the original designer, the founder of Balenciaga. And in fact, shooting wrapped about a month ago on the series itself. Now, they're doing a lot of original productions there in Spain and France and areas like that. It's part of the deal when you expand globally, is to make originals in the territories where you have significant holdings. And once again, context here is key. Okay, this Disney Plus show is actually focused in on the history of the fashion brand. Okay, before it was acquired by Baring, before it was part of this weird situation, it's even more specifically focused on the founders I mentioned before. So casting shade here, which is going to happen, just for the sake of guilt by association, is really unfair. If people are doing that or going to do that, that's not fair, right? But again, I mean, any kind of affiliation like this is going to give people pause, because that they were working back and forth on the regular, right? And let me add this for balance, okay? Because again, abundance of fairness here. Balenciaga has been targeting lots of cultural powerhouses for partnerships. So it's not just Disney, right? It's not just Disney. You've actually seen some of these things. You may have been part of them without even knowing it, because around the same time as the Simpsons were being prepared for Fashion Week, a couple of weeks before, as a matter of fact, Balenciaga was invading the gaming space, the video gaming space. You're gonna say, where? Fortnite. That's right. Characters in Fortnite could not only sport Balenciaga gear in the game, players could actually enter a Balenciaga shop in the game and purchase gear for their avatars that they could wear and play in the game. And then they could go down the street to the real world Balenciaga store, or an outlet that carried it, and purchase that very same gear in the real world. In other words, and this is part of a lot of these things that we're just now recognizing, there was a steady invasion here into culture, pop culture, etc. by this bearing brand. And it's effectively been among the most pervasive move in history. Let's just put it that way. Managed by brand leader Demna, I'm going to get this name wrong, Javasalia. It seems nothing is beyond a partnership opportunity. A way to get the brand and the things that the brand represents into more people's heads and hands. And the problem is now for them, with all this controversy, how many celebrities and companies are going to desire that partnership in the future? I mean, we've watched a lot of things fall apart. Not just because of the photo shoot, but because of some other things that are coming to light here. Will public pressure and further disclosure of some disturbing elements drive some would-be collaborators away? Can't imagine some lifestyle brands are going to buddy up right away without doing a little more investigation, especially if more things come out. Will further exposure of previous creative practices continue to drive some negative perceptions? We're not going to go into this Volkova person, but I'm sure somebody will. Maybe I will in a future video. Of course, if you're a mega brand, like let's say Disney, would you be looking for ways to distance yourself to see if another shoe is going to drop? At least for a little while anyway. I think these are good questions. In fact, please feel free to share your thoughts and questions down below. I imagine you probably have some interesting takes on this whole mess. I'd love to read them in light of obviously the video that I did previously on Balenciaga and the mess behind it all. There's even more. I'm not done. There's a lot more out there. Oh, and I do want to ask, again, is this the kind of video piece that you'd like to see from time to time? You want me to produce these occasionally, looking at some of this stuff that's just a little tough to take? I'd like to know. Anyway, support independent creators, of course. That's key here. They could certainly use that. A like can go a very long way on a video, but doing all the things, right? That's even more impactful. So sharing, commenting, subscribing, turning on notifications, that's huge algorithmically. And it also helps you not miss anything, as I keep mentioning. It really does drive growth for channels that are covering some stuff that the mainstream media tends to shy away from or not fully cover, or gosh, maybe soft pedal. Anyway, I just know all of us would really appreciate that support. So, of course, take care of yourself. Take care of others. Wash your hands, of course, because it's good hygiene. And until next time, bye. And don't forget to check out my Rumble at rumble.com/CultureCasino. And don't forget to check out my Rumble at rumble.com/CultureCasino. Thanks for visiting today. Be sure you're subscribed and hit that for alerts.
Yay!
Of course, like and share all of the videos that you can, as it helps with the algorithm. Have a great day.